The universe is quiet. Too quiet. Look up at the night sky. On a clear night, away from city lights, you can see thousands of stars. Each one is a sun, and many of those suns have planets. Our galaxy, the Milky Way, has somewhere between 100 billion and 400 billion stars. And there are maybe 2 trillion galaxies in the observable universe. The numbers are just nonsense at that scale. They are too big to feel. But the point is simple. There are countless planets out there, trillions upon trillions of them. They have been around for a very long time. The universe is about 13.8 billion years old. Our Earth is only about 4.5 billion years old. So there has been plenty of time and plenty of places for life to arise. If even a tiny fraction of those planets developed life, and a tiny fraction of that life became intelligent, and a tiny fraction of that intelligent life built a technological civilization, then the galaxy should be full of signals. It should be loud. We should see evidence of alien empires, alien constructions, alien radio chatter. But we see nothing. We hear nothing. The sky is silent. This is the Fermi Paradox. The physicist Enrico Fermi asked a simple question over lunch one day. Where is everybody? The math says the aliens should be here, but the evidence says they are not. It's a contradiction. And it's a deeply unsettling one. The Great Filter is one of the most compelling and most terrifying potential answers to this paradox. So what is it? The Great Filter is a hypothesis. It's an idea proposed by an economist named Robin Hanson. He looked at the development of life as a series of steps. It's like a long obstacle course. To get from a dead planet to a galaxy-spanning civilization, you have to pass through a number of stages. The first step might be getting the right chemicals together on a planet. The next step might be getting those chemicals to form self-replicating life. Then that simple life needs to become more complex. Then that complex life needs to become intelligent. Then that intelligent life needs to develop technology. Then it needs to survive long enough to spread beyond its own planet. The Great Filter is the idea that at least one of these steps is incredibly, astronomically difficult. So difficult that almost no one ever makes it past. It's a bottleneck. It's a wall. It filters out almost all potential life, leaving the universe looking empty and dead. The question isn't just where this filter is. The question is, for us, for humanity, is the filter in our past, or is it in our future? The answer to that question changes everything. It determines whether we are one of the first or one of the last. Let's think about the first possibility. Maybe the Great Filter is behind us. Maybe we are the lucky ones. We won the cosmic lottery. If this is true, it means one of the early steps in our history was the incredibly hard one. One candidate for the filter is the very origin of life itself. This is called abiogenesis. It's the jump from non-living chemistry to a living, self-replicating organism. We see life everywhere on Earth, but we've never seen it start. We don't know how it happened. Scientists can get amino acids and other building blocks of life to form under lab conditions that mimic early Earth. But getting those building blocks to assemble themselves into a living cell with metabolism and a way to reproduce. We have no idea how to do that. It is a huge gap in our knowledge. Maybe that jump is the filter. Maybe you can have trillions of planets with perfect conditions, with oceans of warm, nutrient-rich water for billions of years, and life will almost never happen. Maybe it only happened here. The sheer improbability of a bunch of random molecules bumping into each other and creating the first cell could be so high that it's the single biggest barrier in the universe. If that's the case, then we are past it. We are breathing a sigh of relief. The hardest part is over. The silence in the sky is not a warning. It's just empty. The universe is a vast, open frontier waiting for us. We might be the first, and perhaps the only intelligent life in our galaxy. That is a lonely thought, but also a hopeful one. It gives us a sense of purpose. Another possibility for a filter in our past is the jump from simple life to complex life. For the first couple of billion years of life on Earth, everything was simple. We had single-celled organisms like bacteria and archaea. They are called prokaryotes. They are very basic. They have no nucleus, no specialized parts. They just float around, eat, and divide, and for a very long time that's all there was. Then, something remarkable happened. One simple cell apparently engulfed another. Instead of digesting it, it formed a partnership. The engulfed cell became a powerhouse for the host cell. This is the origin of mitochondria, the parts of our cells that generate energy. This new type of cell, with a nucleus and internal machinery, is called a eukaryote. Every animal, every plant, every fungus on Earth is made of eukaryotic cells. It was the invention that allowed for multicellular life. It allowed for complexity. But this event seems to have happened only once in 4 billion years. Sure, that long delay suggests it was a fluke. A bizarre 1 in a trillion accident. If that's the filter, then the universe might be full of planets covered in simple slime, but almost none of them ever get past that stage. They never develop the complex cells needed to build brains and bodies. Again, if this was the filter, we are past it. And we are on the other side. The universe is ours for the taking. The silence is not a threat. It's an opportunity. You could make similar arguments for other steps. The development of photosynthesis, which changed our atmosphere. The evolution of multicellular bodies. The development of nervous systems and intelligence. Maybe getting a big tool using brain as the filter. After all, there have been millions, maybe billions of species on Earth. Dinosaurs ruled for over 150 million years. They never built a radio telescope. Only one species, ours, developed the kind of abstract technological intelligence that could lead to a civilization. Maybe that is exceptionally rare. If any of these past steps were the great filter, it means we are special. We are rare, and the future is wide open. But there is another possibility, and it's much darker. What if the filter is not behind us? What if the easy part is over, and the great filter is still to come? This is the terrifying side of the equation. If this is true, it means the universe is silent for a very grim reason. And it means that many civilizations have reached our level of development before. They have grown intelligent, built technology, and looked up at the stars just like us. And then something happened. Something always happens, and it kills them every single time. If the filter is ahead of us, the silence we hear is the silence of a graveyard. The empty sky is a monument to all the civilizations that failed to pass the test we are about to face. What could this future filter be? The most obvious candidates are things we create ourselves. The filter could be the tendency of any intelligent civilization to develop technology that is powerful enough to destroy itself. Think about our own history. We developed nuclear weapons in the 1940s. For decades, during the Cold War, we lived on the brink of total annihilation. A few bad decisions, a few misunderstandings, and human civilization could have ended in a blaze of radioactive fire. We survived that period, but the weapons are still here. There are thousands of them. The risk has not gone away. Maybe most civilizations that discover the power of the atom eventually use it to wipe themselves out. Maybe it's an almost unavoidable outcome of tribalism mixed with high technology. Or consider climate change. We are burning fossil fuels to power our civilization. In doing so, we are changing the chemistry of our atmosphere and oceans. We are warming the planet to a degree that could cause mass extinctions, crop failures, and the collapse of the ecosystems that support us. We know this is happening. We have the data, but we are struggling to act in a coordinated, meaningful way. Our short-term political and economic incentives are fighting against our long-term survival. Perhaps this is a universal trap. Any civilization that learns to exploit its planet's energy resources inevitably triggers a climate catastrophe that it cannot stop. Maybe that's the filter. And what about biotechnology? We are learning to edit genes. We can create new viruses in a lab. What happens when this technology becomes cheap and accessible? An engineered pandemic, far more deadly and contagious than anything nature could produce, could be released either by accident or on purpose. It could wipe out most of the global population. This could be a filter that every technological species faces once they unlock the secrets of their own biology. Then there is artificial intelligence. Many smart people are worried about this. We are building AIs that are becoming more and more capable. What happens when we create an intelligence that is far greater than our own? A superintelligence? We have no idea how to control something like that. An AI with goals that are not perfectly aligned with our own could see humanity as an obstacle or as a resource to be used for its own ends. It might not be evil, in the way a human is evil. It might just be indifferent. An AI optimizing for some goal, like making paperclips, could decide to turn the entire planet, including us, into paperclip-making factories. It sounds silly, but the logic is sound. We are ants on the railroad tracks of a coming technological train. We might not even see it coming. Maybe the creation of superintelligence is the final exam for every civilization, and so far, no one has passed. These are all plausible filters that lie ahead of us. They are all powered by the same engine, our own intelligence. The very thing that makes us successful also gives us the tools to cause our own extinction. It might be that the universe is silent because intelligence is a fatal mutation. It's a short-term evolutionary advantage that, on a long enough timeline, always leads to self-destruction. This is a chilling thought. It reframes our entire world. Our daily struggles, our political squabbles, our technological progress, they all look different when viewed as part of a great cosmic test for survival. Every nuclear warhead, every ton of carbon released into the atmosphere, every advance in AI research could be another step towards the filter. And there are other possibilities for a future filter, ones that have nothing to do with us. The universe is a dangerous place. There are external threats that could end us. A massive asteroid impact, like the one that killed the dinosaurs, could happen again. A big enough rock could sterilize the entire planet. We are just starting to develop the technology to track and potentially deflect these objects. But a civilization might need to be very advanced and very lucky to survive this threat over millions of years. Or there could be a gamma ray burst. This is an unimaginably powerful beam of energy released by a collapsing star or the collision of two neutron stars. If one of these beams were to hit Earth, it would strip away our ozone layer in an instant. The surface of the planet would be blasted with lethal radiation from our own sun. It would cause a mass extinction event that would make all previous ones look small. These bursts are rare, but they happen, and there is no defense against them. A civilization could be doing everything right, and then, in a flash of light from across the galaxy, it's all over. Maybe the filter is something we can't even imagine yet. A law of physics we haven't discovered that makes long-term space travel impossible or deadly. Or maybe the zoo hypothesis is true in a darker way. Perhaps there is a predator civilization out there. A super advanced culture that deliberately seeks out and destroys any emerging technological life. They stay silent, they watch, and when a new species like us starts making noise with radio signals, they send a fleet of self-replicating probes to wipe them out. In this scenario, the silence is not the silence of a graveyard. It's the silence of a forest where everyone is hiding from the hunter. Our first radio broadcast in the early 20th century might have been like a baby bird chirping in a forest full of hawks. We announced our presence to the cosmos without knowing who or what might be listening. So, are we past the filter? The honest answer is we have no idea, and that uncertainty is the whole point. It forces us to confront two very different and very profound possibilities about our place in the universe. If the filter is behind us, we have a staggering responsibility. If life is rare and complex life is rarer still, and intelligent life is a near impossibility that has happened only once, then we are the guardians of something precious. We are the mind of the universe, the only part of it that can look back and understand itself. The atoms in our bodies were forged in the hearts of stars. Now, those atoms have arranged themselves into conscious beings who can study the stars. So that is a miracle. If we are alone, then our survival is not just about us. It's about the survival of meaning itself in this corner of the cosmos. If we fail, if we wipe ourselves out, we might be extinguishing the only light in a very big, dark room. The silence would then be permanent, but if the filter is ahead of us, then we are in a position of extreme peril. The silence in the sky is a warning. It is evidence, it is the result of a great experiment that has been run millions of times before and has failed every time. We are fools if we think we are different. We are just the next, in a long line of civilizations sprinting towards a cliff. This view suggests that we should be incredibly cautious. We should be terrified of new, powerful technologies. So we should be working with a desperate urgency to solve global problems like climate change and nuclear proliferation. Our top priority as a species should be to identify the likely filter and do everything in our power to get through it. Our obsession with economic growth, with national rivalries, with petty distractions is like arguing about the seating arrangements on the Titanic. There are other less dramatic explanations for the Fermi Paradox. Maybe interstellar travel is just too hard. The distances are too vast. Civilizations might be born, live for 1,000,000 years on their home world, and then die out, never being able to cross the gulf to the next star. They are like cultures living on islands separated by an ocean too wide to cross. The galaxy could be full of them, but they are all isolated and alone. Or maybe we're just not listening correctly. Maybe they communicate using neutrinos or gravitational waves or something we can't even conceive of. Our radio technology might be like trying to listen for smoke signals in a world of fiber optics. Or maybe they are here, but they don't interfere. This is the zoo hypothesis. We are like a protected nature preserve. They are observing us for scientific or ethical reasons, but have a strict non-interference policy. These ideas are more comforting, but the great filter hypothesis has a stark, simple logic to it that is hard to dismiss. It directly links the silence of the cosmos to our own potential for survival. So, how should we live with this question? It's not just an academic puzzle, it's a mirror. When we ask, where's everybody? We are also asking, who are we? What is our future? The search for extraterrestrial intelligence, or SETI, is one way we engage with this. When we point our radio telescopes at the sky, we are doing more than just looking for aliens. We are testing the great filter hypothesis. If we find a signal tomorrow, it would be the most profound discovery in human history. It would prove that life can make it to our stage and beyond, but it would also be terrifying news. Because if others have made it this far, it would dramatically increase the odds that the great filter is still ahead of us. It would mean that a civilization-ending catastrophe is a common, and perhaps unavoidable, fate. A silent sky is lonely. A sky full of signals could be a death sentence. Conversely, if we continue to search for decades or centuries and find nothing, the silence becomes more and more meaningful. The more we look and the less we find, the more evidence we have that something is rare. And that increases the odds that the rare thing is a step we have already taken. It increases the hope that the great filter is behind us. The philosopher Nick Bostrom put it this way: the silence of the night sky is golden. The discovery of even simple fossils on Mars or bacteria in the oceans of a distant moon would be scientifically thrilling. But it would be grim news for the future of humanity, because it would mean that the first step, the origin of life, is not the filter. It would push the filter further down the road, closer to us. Finding dead, simple life is one thing. Finding the ruins of an advanced alien civilization would be the worst news we could possibly get. It would be a cosmic tombstone telling us exactly where we are headed. In the end, we are left alone with the uncertainty. We are a young species on a small planet, just beginning to understand our place in the cosmos. We look out at an immense silent universe and we don't know if it is a cradle or a grave. We don't know if we are the firstborn or the next to die. This idea, the great filter, should fill us with a sense of humility and a sense of urgency. It should make us realize how precious and fragile our existence is. We are living through a unique moment in history. We are the first generation that has the power to destroy itself. We may also be the first generation with the power to see the danger clearly and steer a different course. The choices we make in the next few decades about our technology, our environment, our conflicts, might not just determine the future of our civilization. They might determine the future of life in this galaxy, whether the universe remains silent or whether one day it is filled with the descendants of the creatures who once looked up at the quiet night sky from a small blue world and wondered where everybody was. The filter is a question we are all answering every day by how we choose to live.